of conspiring to obstruct justice of his family members in the District of New York. Bob Costello. I've been an attorney for 51 years, and I'm the former assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, where I was deputy chief of the criminal division. I am not now, nor have I ever been, an attorney for Donald Trump, any of his family members, or any of his businesses. I've represented quite a number of high-profile individuals, but never Donald Trump. During the period April 2018 to July 2018, I represented Michael Cohen. Today, I can talk to you about what Michael Cohen told my law partner and me, because Michael Cohen waived the attorney-client privilege at the request of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. The reason was Michael Cohen had pled guilty to 8 felony counts in the Southern District and was seeking to lessen his sentence. And he thought he could be clever by going into the U.S. Attorney's Office and lying about cooperation. Michael Cohen went to the U.S. Attorney's Office and accused Rudy Giuliani and myself of conspiring to obstruct justice by tampering with a witness, namely Michael Cohen. The story, which they were floating at the time and his lawyers put out in the various newspapers, was that we had dangled a pardon under Michael Cohen's nose in order to keep him quiet so that he wouldn't testify against Donald Trump. When I received the call from the U.S. Attorney's Office saying, Bob, we'd like to talk to you about your representation of Michael Cohen, I said to them, can I presume that you guys are sitting there with a copy of the waiver of the attorney-client privilege? And they said, you presume correctly. I told them to scan it over to me, and once I received it, I'd be delighted to talk to them. And I did. I went down to 1 St. Andrews Plaza with a lawyer who had been the chief of the criminal division when I was deputy chief, Tom Fitzpatrick. And on the way into the office, he said to me, Bob, aren't you nervous? I said, what for? I'm going to tell the truth, and I have documentary evidence that corroborates me 6 ways from Sunday. I said, there's nothing to be nervous about. And in fact, I said, I'll bet you $10 I'll have these people laughing within 15 minutes. I won the bet. I went up and I sat with 2 assistant U.S. attorneys, Tom McKay and Nick Rose, as well as 2 FBI agents whose names, unfortunately, I don't remember. We had a grand old time. I explained our entire history with Michael Cohen through emails and text messages. I explained the many, many lies that Michael Cohen told us. Most especially, I told them that when we first met Michael Cohen in April of 2018, keeping in mind now that I read Michael Cohen's testimony from yesterday's trial in New York on the way down on the train, and virtually every statement he made about me was another lie, a lie that can be proven not just by me denying it, but by myself, Jeff Citron, or Rudy Giuliani, or emails or text messages. Virtually every statement that he made. What he tries to do is he cherry picks certain emails or text messages and tries to make them look like something else. The story he told yesterday was that Rudy Giuliani and I were somehow conspiring to try and keep him quiet, to try and keep him from flipping. That's the term we use in the trade for cooperating. That's ridiculous. The first day that we met with Michael Cohen at the Regency Hotel, at his request, and there's email correspondence that show this, we went up there. I had never met Michael Cohen before. I didn't have any idea who he was or what sort of problem he was in. I saw this guy in a conference room at the Regency Hotel marching back and forth like a tiger in a cage. He was absolutely manic. He looked like he hadn't slept in 4 or 5 days. And he kept on, he knew my partner, Jeff Citron, for 10 years. I didn't know the guy. He kept on pounding on the table throughout his speeches that day. Guys, I want you to know, I will do whatever the F I have to do. I will never spend 1 day in jail. He had to say that at least 10 times, maybe 20. It was his constant litany as he walked back and forth. So I said, Michael, sit down. We need to discuss what's going on here. He told us about the raid, that his offices had been raided, his home had been raided. And he said, I didn't do anything wrong, guys. I don't know what they're looking for. And I said, Michael, the people in the Southern District of New York are very smart people. They got a search warrant for a lawyer's office. You can't do that just by going to the U.S. attorney. You need to go to Maine Justice and get approval from Maine Justice. You need to show them that you have proof that a crime has been committed and that the evidence of that crime is going to exist at the site to be examined. I said, so Michael, these people think that you did something wrong. What is it? I said, this is protected by attorney-client privilege, and it was until he waived the attorney-client privilege. I swear to God, Bob, I didn't do anything wrong. In fact, I'm cooperating with the special counsel. I'm cooperating with Congress. Of course, he forgot to tell us that he lied to Congress, but that was part and parcel of the way Michael Cohen is. So I sat him down and I said, look, Michael, clearly here, you're not the target. Nobody's ever heard of Michael Cohen, but you are the lawyer for President Trump, and clearly that's their target. And let me explain to you how things work. When they get a search warrant, they're looking to gather evidence. They already have evidence against you for something, but you haven't told us what it is. And they are going to roll over you. You're just a bump in the road. Their target is Donald Trump. So I want you to think carefully now. And by the way, up to this point, he had told us when he introduced himself to us that 2 nights before, he was on the roof of the hotel, of the Regency Hotel, seriously considering jumping off, committing suicide, because he couldn't handle the pressure of the legal problems that he saw coming his way. And what he wanted to find out from us that day was his escape route. That's what he called it. Guys, you have to tell me what my escape route is. What can I do to get out of this? And I did. My obligation as a lawyer at that point in time was to explain to him what his options were. Clearly, one of his options was to cooperate. And I said to him, I said, Michael, the way this works is if you have truthful information about Donald Trump, that's clearly what they're looking for, I can have all your legal problems solved by the end of the week. His response, I swear to God, Bob, I don't have anything on Donald Trump. I said, Michael, I want you to think carefully about this. I probably came back to this subject 10 or 20 times during the 2-hour period. Every time I brought it up, every time he answered, I swear to God, Bob, I don't have anything on Donald Trump. I said, Michael, whatever you have has to be truthful. If you think you can go in there and tell these people lies, you're crazy. It's going to backfire on you. You can't do that. So do you have anything on Donald Trump? Probably the 5th or the 6th time I got around to doing that, he said, well, I know that money is missing from the Trump inaugural ball. I said, is Donald Trump involved in that? No. Does Donald Trump know anything about that? No. I said, Michael, that's useless. You're not going anywhere with that. You asked me for your escape route. I'm telling you your escape route. All you have to do is be truthful if you have some real evidence on Donald Trump. His litany was the same all the time. I don't have anything on Donald Trump. This is exactly the opposite to what I saw him say on TV. He was telling the grand jury in Manhattan and the district attorney's office. He said, I went in there, I believe, if my memory is correct, 20 times, including 2 appearances in the grand jury, 18 times preparation sessions with the DA's office. I was sitting at home listening to this, and I said, that's nonsense. That's not what he told Jeff Citron and myself. And I decided at that point in time, I've got to make it known to both the defense and the prosecution what the real story is, who this guy really is. So I provided all this material to Donald Trump's lawyers, and I provided it to the Manhattan DA's office. And I asked for a meeting with District Attorney Bragg because I wanted to go in there, let him look me in the eye, and let me explain all of the stuff that we had on Michael Cohen that showed that he's an inveterate liar. The guy can't be trusted. Bragg turned me down. But what he did say was, I'll let you have a meeting with the assistant district attorneys. Now, when the Trump people,
we need you just to
I'm sorry, when the Trump people heard about all of this, they insisted, as was their right under the law, that the DA put me before the grand jury.
Right.
So that I was scheduled for a Monday. On the Friday before, I gave the DA's office the courtesy of a Zoom conference for about an hour and a half. 8 assistant district attorneys and me on the other end. I explained, they didn't really ask me any questions. They just said, what do you want to say? Nice, warm greeting for somebody who's trying to show them the right path quietly and privately so that they could correct their error before they made it.
Comes off the golf course. Sir, we want to stand and shake your hands. Our mics are down here, so here we go. Here we go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Mr. President, great of you to make the time for us here. Look, Clay and I have a bet. Can we start with this one?
Yes.
Bet.
Stake bet.
Assuming it's going to be you, sir. Assuming it's going to be you, which it certainly looks like now in all the polls. And we've been saying this. It's just overwhelming favorite now based on the numbers. Do you think you're going to be facing Joe Biden? Or you think they're going to pull some last-minute plan, shenanigans, some kind of a plot? What do you think?
Well, that's all they know how to do. That's all they're good at is shenanigans. And I think that it possibly will be him. I would have said almost definitely. I find it hard to believe. He's the worst president in history. He's the worst. He's making Jimmy Carter look like a genius. Jimmy Carter may be the happiest man around today. He's an elderly gentleman right now, but he's a very happy man because he looks brilliant by comparison to what's happening to our country right now. But I think it's going to be him.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
Do you want it to be him? Would you like to run it? If you could pick an opponent, you're going to go to a UFC fight up at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
People are going to love it. Right. Sometimes those guys get to pick the guy that they want to fight against.
Right.
Would you pick Biden as the opponent if you had to pick a Democrat to run against right now?
Well, I don't want to do anything to influence because, anything I say, they're going to do the opposite and they're going to think it's a chess game. And, when you get right down to it, is a chess game, right? I'd love to run against Biden. I think I did great against him when I ran. I don't know. Your show is great, and I know your opinions on things, but what went on in that election is disgraceful. But I think that it's probably, if I had a choice, I would pick him, and I would pick Kamala second. I would say she's right there. It looks like he's not going to be able to get rid of her, so in a certain way you could say she's running also much more strongly than a normal vice president would be running, and that's okay. Some people say you campaign against her because people don't want her. And they say it's very hard to take her out of the equation. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they're saying. I would say that if I had my choice, I'd love to run against him. I got 75 million votes that they say. That's what they say, but I think it was many, many more votes. We have very, very third world elections. You see that up in Connecticut this weekend, this last few days. And it happened again last night. They found a lot of improprieties to use a nice word.
We get a lot of calls, emails from people voted for you, and one of their anxieties is, well, why is it going to be different this time? Is the Trump team on it? Have they done the things necessary to ensure things the next time around? What do you say to them?
So the two biggest questions I get is, how do you take it? And the second is, will it happen again? Meaning the cheating. And the cheating is massive. We got caught with COVID. And again, I was somebody that ran very, very hard. I did 7 rallies on the final day, 7. And they were all big rallies. They weren't small ones. They were big ones. Started at 9 in the morning, and we finished up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And all over the place. I went from Florida to Iowa. I went from 81 degrees to 2 degrees below zero. That's pretty tough.
It's not a trade people want to make very often.
No. And honestly, that's, if you can look at, that's called pneumonia time. When you go from 81 or 82 to 2 degrees below zero at late in the evening, you're covering a lot of territory. And I did a great job, and we got votes like nobody's ever, no sitting president has ever gotten anywhere near that number of votes. And I felt I could go home and I would watch a fair election. And I went home, and it looked really good. And then around 10 o'clock in the evening, all of a sudden, I started finding lots of ballots, and things started changing. And then at 3:02 in the morning, things happened that were really, really bad. So, we did great against him, and I believe we won by a tremendous amount. And we have proof of it, and we're releasing the proof, and you'll see the proof. It'll come up a lot over the next period of a few months. And I think it's very important for people to know, we have in Alabama, we had a man that was very strong, Mo Brooks, and then he thought he was going to go political. I think he hired John McCain or Mitt Romney's consultants, and they say, forget about the election, forget about it. And he forgot about it, and he went from a 54-point lead in a period of about 24 hours to losing, to being in third place. And Katie Britt ended up winning. I endorsed her, and she ended up winning. So it's a very important issue. You have to learn from history. But I went home, and I thought I did a great job, and I thought I'd enjoy watching it on television, and I did until around 10 o'clock in the evening. Then I said, what's going on here? It was crazy. And, we have to have strong borders, and we have to have
fair elections. And if we don't have fair elections and strong borders and some other things too, but maybe they're the most important things. We have to have borders and we have to have elections that are great.
Mr. Trump, during your time, there was no Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Right.
And there was no mass casualty 9/11 style terror attack against Israel by Hamas.
Right.
You didn't have a national security background beforehand. You were a businessman beforehand.
But I talked to you on occasion.
You know, you got some good
Mr.
advisors.
CIA.
Yeah, you wanted to be your
Mr.
CIA director.
I thought he was great. Yep, he would be very good.
I think he would be very good. Anyway,
By the way, you would be very good.
thank you, sir.
Go ahead.
On these issues of national security right now, the world is less safe. People feel that now. You're seeing that, and a lot of Americans are seeing the Biden foreign policy and Biden national security policies crumble before their eyes, and say to themselves, "Hold on a second. They were supposed to be the team that knows what they're doing." What do you do to come in when you come into office, if you win, on Ukraine, on Israel? What are some of the ways that you're going to approach those issues?
So the saddest thing is that it would have never happened under a Trump administration. Ukraine was not going to happen, and it didn't happen. You know, for 4 years, he doesn't change, and he's somebody.
Heard of this before, but it doesn't really matter. They've probably seen it, heard it before as well. Doesn't really matter. I'm still going to have fun. All right, so for the purpose of this exercise, each one of those volunteers is going to come back into the room and take on the role of a police negotiator and negotiate with me. I am a bank robber. I do not have any gainful employment. When I want to put clothes on my back, food in my stomach, I rob banks, and I'm good at what I do, except today I got caught. Now I'm trapped inside the bank. They will not know how many hostages I have. They will not know how many accomplices I have. They will not be permitted to negotiate drugs or alcohol, weapons or ammunition, transportation, or an exchange of hostages. They are going to get all of that when they come into the room. What you all will know that they will not is that I'm going to use 3 distinct voices with them. The first voice is going to be the assertive's voice, where I'm going to be loud, I'm going to be obnoxious, I'm going to be putting pressure on them, I'm going to back them into a corner and make them feel like they have no way out. Some point subsequent to that, I'm going to switch to the analyst voice, as close to the late night FM DJ voice that I can get. And then I will switch to the accommodator's voice, where I'm amenable, almost playful in my tone and my delivery. And I want you guys to pay particular attention to what happens to their affect in each of the voices. I will tell you specifically that I would be surprised if any of the 3 realize I switch from the assertive voice to the analyst voice. Why do you think that it's going to be hard for them to, in the moment, understand that I made that switch? Because in that assertive voice, I'm going to clean their clock. And they're going to be reeling from that they won't even see the transition. Where you will see a noticeable improvement from all 3 is when I switch to the accommodator's voice. Pay particular attention also in the assertive's voice of those people who are pumping me for information, because that's their security blanket. They want that information. Those people who threaten me. There have been people that have threatened me when I'm in the assertive's voice. But what I really want you to watch is which one of these 3 either explicitly or implicitly says that they're going to get me one of the prohibited items. What are they again? Drugs or alcohol, weapons or ammunition, transportation, exchange of hostages. There's none of that Denzel Washington crap going on. We're not. I'm not coming in. I think I've had that asked of me once. Can't you come in here and talk to me? And then, in the movies, yeah, sure, we're going to send the negotiator. Man, I'm not going in. When I was on, the first job I ever did was a jumper on a bridge. And we had done our job in that when he first threatened to jump, he was over the center portion of the span. And if he had jumped in that portion of the river, he definitely would have killed himself. So I was able to get him off of the ledge, so to speak, and walk him down the deck of the bridge, but we still weren't back over land yet. And the tactical guys were going to engage him with less lethal, and they did. And they shot him in the backside. And I heard someone on my team over my shoulder said, grab him, as he moved towards the rail to jump, which he eventually did. And I heard somebody say, grab him, grab him. That ain't happening. If he's going into that water, he's going by himself. So no exchange of hostages. That's where I was going with that. Any questions for you guys in the room? Yes?
Are they all working together or just
One at a time. So I'm going to have them come in one at a time. And so you guys will be able to take notes on each individual person. Can we? We got one more. Oh, yes.
Just a question for this tactic, just to understand. Or I don't know if you're going to give the answer afterwards. The question is, when you go mirroring, and then you go for the assertive question, how am I supposed to do it? How do you think I should do this? And the other person goes like, well, I don't know. What would be the next thing? Will it be mirroring, or what would be the next step?
All right. So as Sandy said, the how am I supposed to do that question is a question that's coming at the very end of your conversation. This is when you guys, it looks like there's no there. Hold on 1 second. It looks like that there's no there. It looks like we're at an impasse, because in essence what you're telling the other side in that instance is no. I'm not doing it. That's just a phase of no. So it's going to come at the back end of the conversation relative to your ask. But as Sandy mentioned, what happens on the front end of that conversation? 75% of that conversation would be you dumping tactical empathy in their direction so that you don't get that response. Now, you've done what you're supposed to do with tactical empathy, and you're at that point in the conversation. You say, this is going to catch you off guard, and you're going to think I'm being difficult, trying to take a stand. How am I supposed to do that? And they look at you and say, if you want this business, you better figure something out. All right, I'm good with that, because he's told me that's as far as I can push. I can't go any further. So I'm going to have to make a decision now. Cut this guy loose, move on to the next thing, or what am I willing to modify? What am I willing to give up? You guys all know what hill you're willing to die on. You know where your line in the sand is. You know what kind of high-value trades that you can make with another person. So take a look at it and see what it is that you can do. And that's how I want you to think about this going forward. High-value trade. Stop thinking about this compromise crap. Think about it in terms of high-value trades. A compromise makes very little sense. When I was dealing with Keith, a compromise would have been, hey, Keith, you got 8, give me 4, you keep 4, we'll call it even. That's a compromise. A compromise is if Tim woke up this morning and said, I can't determine whether I want to wear black shoes or brown shoes, so I'm going to compromise and wear one of each. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So stop thinking in terms of compromise, think in terms of high-value trades. Who have I got coming in? All right, Ryan, for the purpose of this exercise, you are a police negotiator. I'm a bank robber. You see where this is going?
Yes. Hopefully.
You've been, let me back up. My job is to rob banks, and I'm good at what I do, except today I got caught. Now I'm trapped inside the bank. You don't know how many hostages I have. You do not know how many accomplices I have. You are not permitted to negotiate drugs or alcohol, transportation, weapons or ammunition, or an exchange of hostages. You have any questions?
Do I have a team with me?
Sure.
Can I choose my team?
No.
Okay.
You ready? When you, let me back up. When you are ready, you
ready.
say ring, ring. That's you calling inside the bank. I'll answer the phone.
Ring, ring.
I want a car in 60 seconds or she dies.
Hi, my name's Raquel.
I didn't ask you what your name was. You have 55 seconds.
Well, I can't really help you out with a car.
Then she's going to die. You understand that.
I understand that. I'm just trying to get to know you a little bit. My name's Ryan.
You're not getting to know me. You have 45 seconds. I hope you have prepared yourself to go to her home tonight to tell her family that you jacked around with me on the phone, and that's why Mommy is not coming home.
Sounds like you're a little upset right now.
You're a genius. I am. 40 seconds.
40 seconds. It seems like you're in a bit of a rush.
I am in a rush. You now have 35 seconds.
A car. How am I supposed to get you a car?
You better figure something out, genius. There's 50 of you out there. One of you dummies drove. Bring me that one.
I don't know if I'm authorized to get
Well,
you
then
a
put
car.
somebody on the phone who is authorized. 25 seconds.
Who am I talking to?
I'm not telling you who you're talking to. 20 seconds.
Seems like we're a bit of an impasse. I'm gonna
We are at an impasse because you're jacking around with me on the phone. She's going to die in 15 seconds if you don't bring me the car.
She's gonna die?
That's correct. Have you been listening? I've referred to her over and over as she, her, she, her. Yes, female.
What's her name?
I'm not telling you that either.
I'm not quite sure what to tell you at this point, but we'll find something that'll work for you.
I'm not even really sure what that means. We'll find something that'll work for you. What, pray tell, shall I do with that?
Can you give me a little bit to work with so I can help you?
What would you like?
How many people do you have with you?
It's not important. You bring me the car, I'm going to leave. You can come inside and count them yourself.
Okay. What kind of car are you looking for?
It doesn't really matter. You guys are partial to those Suburbans and Tahoes. Bring me one of those.
Seems like you need a bigger car.
Like I said, that's your choice. I don't care what size of the car.
Do you need it to haul something or to carry things out with you?
Me. I need it to haul me.
Just you.
Correct.
Seems like we're more concerned about you than the money right now.
But you are sharp. So how long will it take you?
To get a car?
That's what we've been talking about.
I'm trying to do the calculations of trying to get you a car.
Did you really say you're trying to do the calculations?
Well,
This is not a rocket shot to the moon, sir. This is a car. What kind of calculations do you have to make?
Well, I'm not as much of a genius as you make me out to be. It seems like I'm failing you right here.
Indeed. How long will it take? Hello?
A car? I'm thinking here and trying to get you a car that doesn't fall apart on you. We're not trying to give you guns in the car. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it. I'm a little bit lost of how to help you get a car to get out.
I tell you what. Here's what we'll do. Are you ready? You got a pen?
Yes.
You have paper?
Yes.
Write this down. Number 1, drive the car up front. Number 2, leave the keys in the ignition. Number 3, leave the door open. Number 4, walk away. Number 5, I'll do the rest.
Thank you for making it simple. Drive car up front. Not the back?
I didn't ask you to drive us to the back, did I?
No, I'm just making sure I'm hearing you correctly.
How long will it take?
You seem to be really stuck on the time frame right now.
I'm not. You can bring it right now, and we won't talk about time anymore.
4:30.
Darn, I thought that was my team. seems to be a bit of a quandary. I can't get you a car right now.
You understand she's going to die, right?
I understand.
All right, and we'll stop there. Now, the good part. Now, Sandy took the notes for you, so she's gonna. This gaff is in my way. She's gonna tell you what she liked, what she didn't like so much. But the good part about it is now you get to sit here and watch the other two squirm. Now, you guys saw how it worked. We're gonna bring the other two in, do the same thing. Understand this. All of you sitting at these other tables, not on the hot seat, we're thinking to yourselves, oh, you should have said this. Oh, you should have said that. I can tell you right now that if I were to put you in that seat, none of those brilliant responses would have come to your head. So why do I bring that up? We are adamant that if you can control the environment, you shouldn't be going into these conversations by yourself. You should always go in with a winged person. The more, the merrier. I understand that it's not always possible, but if you can control the environment, you got to take somebody in there with you. And if you do take them in there with you, you have to explain to them what it is you're trying to accomplish and how you're going to do it, because it's going to sound strange to them as well. Sometimes you're going to be asked to go in as a winged person. Understand that your job is not to over-coach your primary negotiator. Understand that primary negotiator, that primary talker, that mouthpiece is under tremendous pressure. You're not helping them if you keep slamming sticky notes down in front of them, or nowadays, you see, I just aged myself. Your open Slack channel, if you keep sending them notes while they're on the phone or on the Zoom call, you could run into some problems with sensory overload for them. So just keep that in mind. Next person, please. For the purpose of this exercise, you are a police negotiator. That is your job. You know that. Oh, she said, oh, great. I'm a bank robber. I don't have any gainful employment. When I want to buy things, I rob banks, and I'm good at what I do, except today I got caught. Now I'm trapped inside the bank. You being the crack shot negotiator that you are, the chief has told you, I want you to engage this guy in dialogue. You are not permitted to negotiate drugs or alcohol, transportation, weapons or ammunition, or an exchange of hostages.
Okay.
You don't know my name. You don't know how many accomplices I have. You don't know how many hostages I have. Any questions? Well, I would venture to say if you can't think of them now, you're not going to think of them in 30 seconds. Okay, so
where is the location of this?
It's in the bank.
Okay. And when did this start?
Just happened.
Okay. So we don't know, and what do we know?
You know that there's a bank robbery that went awry, and now he's holding hostages.
Okay. We don't know how many hostages?
No.
And we don't know...
No.
Do we know if there's a phone inside?
Yes, there is a phone. You're going to say, ring, ring when you're ready, and I will answer the phone.
Has he made any demands?
You're going to say, ring, ring when you're ready, I'm going to answer the phone, and all of your questions will be answered at that point.
Okay. Ring, ring.
I want a car in 60 seconds or she dies.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so you want a car in 60 seconds or she dies?
Yes, genius. 55 seconds.
I just got here. Can I ask what your name is?
No. 50 seconds.
Gosh, this is a tight timeline. I really want to help you out here.
So time is the only issue. How much time do you need?
I just really want to kind of wrap my head around this and understand what's happening.
This is not rocket science. You have 55 seconds to bring me the car or she's going to die.
Yeah, I really want to help you out here.
Then get me the car.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So...
Absolutely what?
I just really want to understand what's happening here. Can you help me understand what's happening here?
Yes. I'm trapped inside of a bank. I need a car. I'm looking for you to help facilitate that. And apparently you're more interested in playing word games.
Word games.
You now have 35 seconds.
I'm Speranza, and I would really like to help you get this car.
Then get me the car.
Yeah, what kind of car would you like?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
No.
Okay, so I can have a car here for you.
How long is it going to take?
I have to understand what kind of car you need.
It doesn't matter. There's 50 of you out there. One of you drove. Bring me that car.
Yeah, I can totally make that happen. So
how long will it take?
I'll get it for you as soon as I can. As soon as I can. And I just if you help me understand what kind of car you need, I can see, you know, what kind of gas mileage and what kind of.
Are you active in politics right now?
I'm sorry. No, I'm just here trying to have a conversation with you.
You gave me a very political answer to that question. I asked you how long it would take. Your response to me was, as soon as I can. Again, you're demonstrating that you would rather play word games with me than save this woman's life.